When I was a kid, and this is going back a few years now, I used to watch Doctor Who on TV. And the actor who played Doctor Who back in those days was Tom Baker. He was kind of a quirky character, and he had a pocket full of jelly beans. And Doctor Who was also known as, or part of, the race, the extraterrestrial race called the Time Lords. Well, today's guest is also known as the Time Lord. He's a bit quirky. I don't know if he's got a pocket full of jelly beans or anything, but he's the go-to expert on productivity and time management. And he's the author of Get Back an Hour in Every Day. And I reckon he could also defeat a Dalek or two. Well, Les, thank you so much for joining me on Master Your Market. We've known each other quite a while now, so it's always good to talk with you. Now, as you know, I'm a business owner, which I thought it would give me more time running my own business to do things when I want them to, which is kind of true. But I seem to be busier now than I've ever been before, even working for somebody else. Why is that? What's wrong with me? Why don't I have enough time?
Nothing wrong with you at all. It's a natural thing to want to do everything all the time, to sell all the time, market all the time, rest all the time, admin all the... It's like everything happens at once, and that's where systems come into play. You need to have your systems down pat. You need to have balance. You need to have planning. You need, part of it is a fear of missing out. Well, if I'm not at that networking event, I'm going to miss out. If I don't make all of these calls today, I'm going to miss out. So there's a fear of missing out as a small business owner. So that's where that comes from. And it's actually not true. If you get your systems in place and you've got a direction and you've got a plan for marketing and a plan for sales, then it's going to happen, and you can kind of relax in it and see what happens over time. And I don't mean sit back and have afternoon cocktails every day. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying part of it is let go of the trepidation of being in business and see, based on your own results, can you, like when you got into business, you got in from ground zero, or you got in on a couple of clients. Therefore, what's that trajectory? What's that over time? Is it 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months? Is it been up, down, up, down, up, down? Or is it getting more and more and more? So you kind of go, if everything's in place, if you've got systems in place and you've got a focus, so you've got balance, then you should be okay and you can let it go. The big thing for me is planning. Do you have a plan? So we've recently clocked over the start of a month. You go from a start of a month to the start of a financial year. You go from start of a financial year. You can even bring it back to the start of a week, and then chunk it all the way back to the start of a day. You're looking at, what am I doing today? And my big one is planning each day the day before. So if you can plan each day the day before, plan the week before, plan the next month in this month, and you can relax in, I've got these plans set, as opposed to, I don't know what's going on. What am I doing? And you're rushing around like a chook with its head cut off.
Right. And maybe that's what I'm doing. I plan quite well, in the sense every Friday, the last thing I do on a Friday is I've got this, I call it the chill playlist on Spotify. It's about 2 hours of my good chill out music that I like. I have that going. It's the last thing I do on a Friday, so the last thing I do for the week. I quite enjoy it, planning what I need to do the following week. And it's mostly what I've got to do in the business. And maybe we'll talk about this. So I know I've got to stitch together these particular episodes. I've got to do these interviews. I'm doing video now for clients. So it's working in the business, but I'm a bit sketchy when it comes to working on the business. what to do to develop my leads, for example, what sales and marketing, and I leave that for one day of the week, and it often happens, but I don't kind of plan that one day. I just leave it blank, and I think that might be where I'm falling down a bit when it comes to working on the business and getting new clients.
The awareness is great. Some people never have the awareness. And part of that comes back to the review. So for me on a Friday, it's the weekly review. What worked this week? What didn't work this week? What can I do differently? So I get to look at, I had a win here and a win here and a win here. Where I fell over was here, here and here. And what I'm going to do next week is not do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. So that planning aspect really works so that you have, for me, it's Friday afternoon. It used to be Saturday morning. However, part of the review also goes into the future to go, what's coming up? What's coming up next week, next fortnight, next month, so that I'm across what's going on as opposed to it coming out of left field and go, oh no, where did that come from? I should have done more on that. Oh no. So that catching it before it actually comes and slaps you is a good way of doing it. And that's the weekly review. So my recommendation, and I do say recommendation, is to block some time out. And it doesn't matter what day it is. It really doesn't matter. As long as you've got a block of time called, here is my weekly review, and here is my opportunity to plan what's coming up.
Right. One other thing, and this is kind of your bread and butter, Les, is that I'm more conscious of things interrupting me during the day, more so now than ever before, and that is, and not so much interrupting me, but things that are administration kind of stuff. Now, I mean, my goal is to employ a PA to look after that, but until then, I find I'm spending a lot of time on things that aren't necessarily bringing in money. So emails, phone calls, messages, a client saying, oh, do you have a certain image that I could use for my socials? And like little bits and pieces that just seem to be taking up a fair bit of more of my time than ever before. I know that's kind of not, I'm not giving you so many specifics there, but is there any way to make these admin tasks more manageable?
Yes, there is. Yep. And I'll start out by saying this up front, and that is not every email is urgent and not every phone call is urgent. So you can actually be doing administration and not have to answer the phone. Oh, yeah, but it's a client, Les. I'm going to miss a client. Well, if they're a really important client, they will leave a message. Yep. And I will often, when it's a mobile number, say, I'm with a client, can I call you back, as a message straight to them, so that they don't get to leave a message, but they do get my message.
As a text message?
As a text message whilst they're... So I go, at least they've been communicated to. So it does come back to that thing of fear of missing out. Oh, but I have to answer this. I have to get onto it straight away. They will think I'm slack if I don't respond to them in 3 seconds. And there's a lot of the listeners are going to be along those lines of, yeah, but I need to get onto it. Well, hold on a tick. One of the biggest things that someone once gave to me, and I give to everyone, and that is put on your email signature, I only check my emails 2 to 3 times a day. And you can say 4 if you like. Therefore, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. And if the instance is urgent, please give me a phone call or a text message. And if it's in a business setting, you can say, or come around to my desk. So what it does is actually puts up a boundary enabling you to be you and not have to be at the beck and call of everyone all the time. I'm a big believer in set hours. So are you starting at 8:30 and finishing at 5:30? Is that something that you are doing, listener? Why? Because it's important to not have bleed all the time. Every now and then you go, I'm going to do this in front of the telly, or I'm going to do dinner, I'm going to do some telly, and I'll come back, and that's fine. But what's that bleed? Are you giving yourself a work-life balance by going, I've got my work, doesn't matter if it's at the work premises or at home, but if it's at home, can you walk out and close the door and not go back into it? And your review piece was really good, because at the end of the day, of course there's the end of the week, but at the end of the day, review your day. What worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently?
Yep.
And what's coming up. Why? Because so many times we go out of the office into our life, into our leisure time, and we're doing this thing in our head of, oh my goodness, what about, and oh, I need to, and I've got to, and what about, oh, and it keeps going and going and going and disturbs the leisure time. Yeah. So I'm saying at the end of your day, write down the things that are coming tomorrow, and write down those things you go, on my mind at the moment is, and give yourself the time to hear what that is, because you don't want it to bleed. You want to stay in that moment and go, you know, I've got nothing, and I've got nothing, I've got nothing, I've got nothing. Therefore, everything that I want planned for tomorrow is planned. I can walk out and be crystal clear, as opposed to walking out and dragging everything with you consciously, going, oh, yeah, but Jim, oh, yeah, but Bob, oh, yeah, but Sally, oh, Siobhan, and it just doesn't work.
And you can never relax, really, after work. I lean heavily on Asana. It's like a planning and scheduling online tool. So every day, I know I'm a big tick boxer.
Me too.
Is that right? Box ticker, not tick boxer.
Tick boxer. I like a kickboxer, but a tick boxer.
It's like, exactly, a box ticker, where I'm ticking off things as I go along. I get that satisfaction. It's a dopamine hit or whatever, but it also, I know exactly what's going on, and I prioritise what needs to be done earlier in the day, and so on and so forth. Online tools, do you use them? Any recommendations?
There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. I talk about this in my program, where there are more apps for productivity than you can shake a stick at. And the question always is, which one's the best? And it's like, the best one is the one that you use. And there are a couple of ones that people use, like Monday.com or Asana, Evernote. It doesn't matter what you've got. It's work with the one that you've got, and lean into those around you to go, why does that work for you? And if there resonates, then pop your toe in the water and see if it works for you, because not everyone is going to work for you. That's why in my coaching, I say to people, it doesn't matter if it's app-based or paper-based, as long as it works for you. And I may have said this one to you before, Chris, where I was working with an executive once, and they said, are you giving me permission to go back to paper? And I said, yes. He said, oh, thank goodness for that. These apps don't work for me. They went out, Officeworks, grabbed a planner, came back, and their productivity went through the roof. Why? Because they were working the system that worked for them. So I've got a calendar that works for me, and I use
the one on the wall behind you.
Well, those, yes. However, the good old Google Calendar works for me. Notes works for me as an app. Why? Because it's as simple as simple. And I've got a notation at the end of my week saying, check your notes, because I can be in the car and I'll say the Siri word and ask that particular person to make a note. And I won't do it now because they will jump out, even though it's probably on mute. It'll interrupt us, Chris. So let's not go there. But I'll ask, make a note, and it'll go bang, bang, bang. And I'll be driving, and I haven't even taken my hands off the wheel, and I'm making all these notes going in. And if I don't have the opportunity, then maybe they'll slip between the cracks. So I get to the end of the week, 4:30 on a Friday, and I'll go, an appointment with myself to check my notes. Why? Because it's important for those downloads to be captured.
Yep. Can you tell me a bit about what you do to help clients and how this is called Master Your Market, this podcast, and how do you master or how do you market yourself to your market? How do you market yourself to your market? How do you market yourself?
Yeah, got it. The market. So for me, I've got 4 businesses now. The primary 2 are Get More Time and Creating Success Coaching. So Get More Time is productivity and time management. I wrote a book called Get Back an Hour in Every Day. That's on the website. So I'm able to do small business to large corporate. I also do leadership training. Again, my clients in Switzerland and Denmark have me do that in Asia Pacific. So it's basically the premise of my business is around giving you back an hour in every day. The other side of that is Creating Success Coaching, which is specifically small business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and they get coached for 2 hours a week, either a Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning, and they get 1 hour a month with me one-on-one. Then from there, there's 100 videos online for that, which enable them to really get a foothold into their business so that they're coached along to tick those boxes, be a box ticker, and they can tick all the boxes and go, no, I've got that, I've got my vision, I've got my purpose, I've got my plans in place, etc., etc. On the back end of your question was, well, how do you take that to market? I do a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of interviews, and outside of that, I do some Facebook. But the biggest thing that I do is networking. I do the belly button to belly button. I'm out there shaking hands. The reason being is that most people have too much to do and not enough time to do it, and therefore they are struggling. They're stressed. So I don't come across anybody that says, oh, I've got heaps of time. I've got heaps of time, Les. I don't need your services. Most people go, oh, I'd love it now back in every day. So what happens from that, I then have a follow-up system to follow that person up. Have you got a business card? No, I've ditched those. Well, let's get it on Blink. So I still get their, that's an app, and I'm still able to get their information and then follow it up. So is it you? Is it corporate? Is there HR? Is it people and culture? Is it something we can do on coaching? Is it something we can do on training? Is it the department? Is it the whole business? So that one-to-one really happens. And then I'll do podcasts and people go, I really want a coach. I really need a coach. So can we have a conversation with that? And we line up a meeting and do it that way. So a little bit of social media, but a lot of it is shaking hands and being out there.
And that's obviously in the real world, not networking online necessarily. It's mostly face-to-face greetings.
Mostly. I've recently been invited to a joint venture strategic alliance networking opportunity and came away with over 50 people that wanted to do business with me. And that's a lot of work to actually schedule those and follow those people up. And there's stuff that's coming out of it. So there's both real world and virtual as well. And I like the virtual. I liked what COVID did to us. I'm fine being on Zoom and Teams. There's nothing wrong with it. So for me to do an international training and do a day's training, people go, oh, no, not being on Zoom or Teams for a day. No, it's not like that. It's actually very interactive and very participatory, as opposed to I can sit back and do emails on the side. Not in these sessions, you don't.
But without rubbing you up too much, Les, you are a good communicator. You are very engaging. So I think I could probably handle a whole day.
Thanks, Chris.
On Zoom with you as well. Now, you mentioned podcasts. I know this is a leading question because I produce podcasts for brands, but for you to get yourself on them as a guest, you kind of touched upon it, but how important have they been for you?
It's an opportunity for marketing, and if you Google yourself, And don't do it on your computer because it's tainted with with yourself. But if you go to someone else's computer and just go type in my name and see what happens. And if you type in my name, it'll come up and it'll come up and it'll come up. And part of that is the amount of podcasts I'm on. People keep putting my name out there as Les Watson, as Get More Time, as Creating Success Coaching, as Get Back an Hour in Every Day. So the more that happens, the more I rank high on a search engine. So that marketing is huge for me. So you look at it and you go, there he is again, there he is again, there he is again. So that people are able to catch me. It's not a matter of, oh, I can't find you on the interwebs. No, I'm there because I'm actively getting on podcasts. I'm actively getting on shows. That participation pays off in spades.
Well, Les, you've shared a lot. Thank you. Before we go, though, is there anything that we may not have covered that you want to mention?
I think for business owners, what happened for me when I first got into business, I did it all wrong. I did so many mistakes and I learned a lot. And based on that, I would say to people, get a mentor, get a business coach, get someone to come alongside. And if not for the fact of enjoying the journey with somebody else rather than on your own, but the feedback that you can get from a coach or a mentor is invaluable, particularly when you are slightly off track. It will save you time, it will save you money, and it will save you embarrassment. Because for me, I ran my first company into the ground and I wish I had had somebody alongside me catching me in what I was doing wrong so that I didn't have to do that. I took all of those and put them into my second iteration and I'm a whole lot better. However, I then in that also got a business coach. I also got someone that could speak into my life and go, what about doing it this way? I've got one now. As we speak, I have a coach. I spoke to them only last night, and we support each other, but I'm getting the support. I'm getting someone to speak into my life. I've got a model, the EASY model, external action, EA, external action.
Yep.
The Y is yes or internal focus, and the S is for support. Are you supportable? And do you ask for support? So you and I support each other, Chris, because we're a phone call away and we can ring each other and go, what about this and what about, and we can discuss things. But sometimes as a business owner, we don't actually get out of our own way to go, I need help. I really need some help here. Tell me what can I do? I've got an idea. Can I bounce it off you? I've got these huge ideas. I'm going to sell my house and move overseas. And I'm going, no, that's probably not what you want to do right now. Let's test the waters, those sorts of things. So get a coach, get a mentor. And of course, my hand's up. I'm happy to stand in the gap and have a conversation with anybody about what that would look like.
Right. And for those who want to follow you up, where do they go? How do they get in contact with you?
Really easy. The website is getmoretime.com.au. getmoretime.com.au, and my book's on there. Les at Get More Time, Creating Success Coaching, you'd find that on the web as well. So happy to talk. If you feel like dropping me an email, feel free. I only check my emails 3 or 4 times a day, but I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
And we'll have those details in the show notes. But for now, Les, thank you so much. We'll be always in contact with each other, but for now, thank you and all the best.
Wonderful. Thanks very much, Chris.